We are learning more about the Nashville bombing on Christmas Day. Nashville police say they made several attempts to reach Anthony Warner, the deceased bombing suspect. They say they made the attempts after his girlfriend told police he was making bombs inside his RV way back in 2019. Officers showed up to his home but were unable to make contact with Warner. They also did not see any signs that he was making a bomb, and Nashville police forwarded the tip to the FBI and Defense Department. Both organizations reported they had no records of Warner, according to Business Insider. Bernie, his girlfriend, warned Nashville police that he was building a bomb. They claimed they made several attempts to contact Warner, but were unsuccessful. Both of the organizations claim they made several attempts to contact Warner, but they were unsuccessful. They then claimed to have given the tip to the FBI. When did the authorities go wrong on this, Commish?
Well, you know what? These days you never know. We get this stuff secondhand. We get it much later. There definitely appears to be a problem, but this is consistent with the FBI patterns we've seen over the last several years, where the FBI seems to know things and either didn't do anything about it or did something too late. In this case, they didn't do enough. If they knew about it, if the girlfriend advised them, told them, don't tell me you can't reach out to the guy. Don't tell me you can't find the guy. I think it's a little crazy. So I think it's still a little too early to tell. But I also think that this is something that could have been stopped had the FBI been on top of it much earlier.
As just a regular guy, I start wondering, what is the FBI actually doing? They spent a heck of a lot of time for the last 4 years trying to find a reason to throw Donald Trump in jail, but at the same time, they got Hunter Biden's laptop, they got tips on a bombing, and there's no follow-up. Is this still a good agency even, Commissioner?
Well, look, I think the agency, especially the baseline agency and the everyday case agents at the investigative level, the lowest levels, I think they're great people. I think they're doing God's work. I think they want to do God's work, and I think, I just think it's the leadership. A lot of this is about leadership. The FBI went out, conducted this investigation, and within 24 hours was able to tell us who the suspect was, that he was in fact killed during the bombing, and a bunch of other stuff that came out of it now and a little afterward. But they had Hunter Biden's laptop for over a year and took no action. None. Zero. None.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Seems like, switching gears here, the Louisville Metro Police Department has taken some action and fired 2 officers involved in the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor. One of the officers was the one who sought the no-knock search warrant for her apartment. A second who apparently fired the fatal bullet. This comes as Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron found that officers involved in the shooting did nothing wrong. He didn't seek serious charges against all 3 officers. If the Kentucky AG found both officers conducted themselves appropriately and the city of Louisville already settled with the family, why are these 2 officers being fired?
No, I have no idea. I have no idea, and I've looked at this case a number of different times in a number of different ways. It was a legitimate search warrant. It was a search warrant signed off by the DA and signed off by a judge. The use of force, as tragic as that may have been, was justified. That was according to the AG himself. So why they fired these cops, especially the one that fired the shot, it's the only thing I could say is it's political, and that seems to be the way things are going these days for men and women in law enforcement.
Certainly, they need a lot more support, that's for sure. But so let me just set the stage. The officers obtain a no-knock warrant, okay, and then despite that, witnesses and even Taylor's boyfriend admit They heard the officers knocking on the door before entering. We got a little cut. Take a listen to this.
What is... How's your girlfriend? I don't know. Inside? Yeah, somebody... I was banging at the door and she said, "Who is it?" And the others started shooting.
No, we down 3 times. Police search warrant.
There's somebody in there dead?
The media tends to flaunt that this was like a no-knock search warrant, but even the boyfriend said he heard officers knock. Officers clearly went above and beyond to declare themselves, even though they didn't have to with the no-knock. Why is her boyfriend's own admission being ignored by the media and the leaders there?
Well, it's not only his admission, John. It's other witnesses within the building. They heard the police officers knocking. They heard the police officers yelling that it was the police. So, you know, this is typical left-wing mainstream media that villainizes the police, victimizes the thugs. Bottom line is they had a no-knock warrant application, but in fact, they did knock, they did notify, and the boyfriend, allegedly, the boyfriend opened fire, and they returned fire, and Breonna Taylor was killed.
Too bad. A 15-year-old boy has been arrested in connection to this wild attack on a BMW driver's car in New York. Post reports 25 bicyclists were involved, but 6 are seen attacking the car. BMW owner told the Post he was driving with his elderly mom when the bikers surrounded his car and began punching, jumping on it, even threw their bike on his car. The mother called 911. She said, "We're going to die. They're going to kill us." Bernie, the driver of the car, did not hit the gas when they started attacking. What does that say about the fear law-abiding citizens have in New York right now?
Well, I think it's, you know what, John, it's not only in New York City, it's all over this country. Every one of these cities where you have the highest crime rates, the highest murder rates, the highest shooting rates, they're all run by Democrats, just like New York City. And people are lawless. They're letting people like this get away with this stuff. You know, you're not seeing that kind of stuff happen in Florida. You're not seeing it happen in Georgia. You're not seeing it happen in other places. I can't for the life of me, I can't fathom what's going on in the minds of the local leaders, the mayors and the governors. You know, people are scared to death. And in this case, we saw it firsthand.
Hey, Commish, in the last 30 seconds here, what should people do if they're faced with that situation right there? What are you supposed to do to protect yourself?
Well, the first thing you do is you try to get out of the area. And, you know, whether you back out, whether you drive around, but you can't let somebody rip you out of your car. That's the worst part of this. If they get you out of the car, they beat you into submission, they beat you to a pulp, or they kill you. You can't let that happen.
Got it. Thank you, Bernie Kerik. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Thanks, John. Happy New Year.
Same.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.